sitting here with Kelly from Nashua at Porcupine Festival in late June 2010. And I wanted to ask you the question I've been asking so many other folks, so many other Free Staters who've been in New Hampshire for a little while as new liberty activists. And my question for you is, what do you say is your proudest accomplishment since you moved here as a liberty activist?
Well, I'd say I've done a lot of little things. I've helped out with political campaigns up at the State House, handing out flyers, that kind of thing. But I've also done civil disobedience. I've just helped out wherever it is, helped out a lot of activists who have gone to jail, helping Mike Sparsky run Mail to Jail, doing some of the...
well, now tell me a little bit about that. Let's focus in on that a little bit. Running Mail to Jail. What is Mail to Jail and what does running it mean? Well,
Mail to Jail is a service that we send letters to liberty activists who have gone to jail, and you can go on, it's a mail-to-jail.com, and if you want to, if you know of a liberty activist who is in jail for a victimless crime or something like that, you can write in and possibly we'll post them on the website, and you can write to them and we will pay the postage. We will print it out and send it to the person in jail.
How are you guys doing in terms of, I mean, I guess you take donations, you don't charge anything, but are you making enough donations to cover expenses?
We are right now, yeah. It's right now we're in a slow period because we don't have a lot of new activists in jail, but when we get, yeah, woo, everyone's out of jail. Well, not everyone. There are some people.
Yeah.
Ed and Elaine Brown, for instance, are, and Kevin Innes are people who we do send letters to, and those people need mail. So if you want to write to those, if you know about those activists, write to them. They're in jail for victimless crimes. If you don't know about them, look them up. So if you want to write to them in particular, visit that website, and you can actually create a username, password, and write to them. We will print it out. We will pay for the postage, and we'll send it out there.
It's like sending an email to a prisoner, basically.
Basically,
in a way, except they get paper.
Yeah, we do the snail mail, but you don't have to pay for postage or anything. You just have to type it up, and we'll send it to them.
Going back a little bit to the what you're talking about, your experiences at the State House and so forth, do you have any interesting specific anecdotes of encounters that you've had with the other side, with bureaucrats, with other people? Well, how do they interact with you?
Well, I found that when I don't go to the State House, when I don't interact or see these people in person, these so-called adversaries, people, enemies, whatever, people who think differently than I think, I tend to get a little intimidated when I read about what they're writing about. But when I see them in person and I hear them testify, say in front of the legislature, it makes them human, and it gives me a lot more confidence, and then I sympathize with them more. I don't see them so much as the enemy, and I feel like I can work with them more because I see them as humans and flawed individuals. So it gives me confidence to actually see them in person.
Do you have any experiences that you could share in terms of what you say with maybe the best and the worst interaction you've ever had with a public official in New Hampshire?
I don't know that I've had any really bad ones. I've had with a public official. Well, I'd say I had a really good experience at the State House, and that was for one of the gun ban. The New Hampshire legislature has, in the past year, decided to ban guns in the State House. And so we had a big hearing, a bunch of supporters came out, and I went out to hear that because that's an issue that's really important to me. Gun rights, particularly in public buildings such as, the State House in New Hampshire. And I was expecting my experience has been when I go and I participate in politics, it tends to be kind of depressing to me because there's so many people who think so differently from me. But in this particular case, I went, and overwhelmingly the people who testified were people who supported gun rights, and they were articulate and they were logical, and it was wonderful. And the few people who were there in support of this gun ban were inarticulate, and it gave me was very
well, and the
heartwarming
average
to me.
public picked up on that too. Because if you look at unionleader.com, the public comments were overwhelmingly against the anti-gun people.
Absolutely, which is, it goes to show that if you're talking about the general public, people tend to be pretty freedom friendly, but it's those few people who are state legislatures or higher up who devote their lives to restricting freedoms, and those are the people who are. Sorry, I have my radio going. I'll shut it off. My radio's going. But yeah, those few people who are very, very active, who basically sometimes determine law, but that's not the majority opinion. The majority opinion tends to be pro-freedom in many issues, particularly gun issues, particularly in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Very gun-friendly in New Hampshire.
Very mainstream thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say what we need are more active, gun-friendly and freedom, in a larger sense, freedom-friendly people who are going to be active, who can counter that minority of people in New Hampshire who want to restrict that.
All right. Well, thank you for all you're doing, Kelly.
Thank you.
And we'll see you out there.
All right.